Last time on Robloxian SASUKE, the first stage concluded. The final 30 competitors took their chance on the first stage and many found success despite failures. By the end of the 100 runs, a total of 14 were able to hit the buzzer and advance onward, but a long road to Constant Seha still stands in front of them. 3 stages totaling up to 12 obstacles are left. Can anyone conquer all of them and rise above to become the first grand champion of Robloxian SASUKE? Hello everyone, my name is Jamie Dorino and welcome to the Tournament 2 finale. Only the best remain to take on the final 3 stages of the competition, and if they can complete all of them, then they'll take home the 1000 Robux grand prize. However, to get there, they'll have to complete many daunting obstacles. The first of them is the one I'm currently standing on right now, the second stage. The second stage is reserved for only those who complete the first stage to attempt, and it's exclusively a mad dash to the finish. The stage kicks off with the tackle machine. Push the heavy box up the angled platform and through to the yellow line, then climb up the stairs. After that is narrow, 2 thin ledges you must walk across. Its first ledge is now slanted compared to last time, making this obstacle even tougher to complete. Beat that and you're on to Spider Walk, where you weave your way through the walls inside the obstacle to reach the fire pole at the end of it. Balance Tank follows, where you roll the cylinder down to the end of the track. Now, not only is there a drop, but the dismount is even longer, meaning that the final platform is harder to catch. Up next is the reverse conveyor, where speed is everything as you must run your way through a large conveyor belt. The final section of the conveyor has been raised slightly. After those 5 obstacles, the only thing standing in competitors' way is wall lifting. Lifted 3 walls of increasing weights to hit the buzzer at the end of the course and you're through, but only if you can do so within the strict 50-second time limit. Anyone who can complete the time trial before it expires is on to the third stage. Everyone else is eliminated. Let's kick off the second stage, and who better start off with than Misty Fun Girl 91. Just 7 runs into the tournament, Misty produced our first clear. She's one of the most unexpected to reach this point of the competition and is looking to extend her success into this stage as well. Here she goes, pushing this tackle machine. It is a long road up to the top of this obstacle, but she's making it there very quickly. Now stepping up to face narrow, this obstacle is very tricky. Got herself through that first blockade, and now the second, and now into Spider Walk. Slowly making her way through the first section of this obstacle, but she slips out of it. Misty loses traction on the first panel of Spider Walk, meaning that Misty has turned into this tournament's first second stage failure. If we look back, she just did not move with enough speed to avoid getting bounced on the panel. These ledges are very thin, your best bet is honestly just rushing through it. Misty instead went with a slow and steady approach, resulting in her splashing down on the third obstacle. On the starting line right now is the competitor who is looking to reach the third stage for one of their first times. Lyrical Wonders has been growing in skill over the last few years, but something is missing from his track record, a clear on the second stage. For a while, clearing the first was troublesome as he would slowly inch his way closer to the buzzer before finally accomplishing his goal. However, since he's been able to reach the second stage, he's continuously had trouble completing it. The closest he's gotten was the second tournament of Steel Castle, where he was less than a second away from reaching the end. He's a very skilled competitor, however, other than that result, he's not had the best runs on courses to fully show that off. With a great run on the first stage, Lyric is hoping that this tournament will be the one where he finally does that and finally reaches the third stage. He just has to get himself there. With all the modifications made to the second stage this tournament, this course is much harder than it was last tournament. Speed has been something that Lyric has struggled with in the past, and with that being the forefront of this course, he needs to be able to go all out on this run. Here he goes onto the tackle machine, pushing this box. It's a very slow push to get to the top, however, he's making great time so far, reaching the top, and he's able to get to that yellow line. That took him nearly 10 seconds, so he has to keep moving as he's on his way through Narrow. A little bit of a scare there, he almost fell off, however, he's able to survive and is now into Spider Walk. This obstacle can eat up a lot of time, but Lyric's pace on it is proving to be very successful, reaching the fire pole at the end of the obstacle, and he's through it. Halfway through the course with half the time left on the clock, coming up on the drop of the balance tank. He survives that and the dismount too. Now the reverse conveyor, he's stunned. He's on the top of it. Can he get himself out of this situation? He can't! Any course is out. Lyrical Wonders is out on the reverse conveyor, and not in a way I think anyone could have expected. That is incredibly odd to see. Let's look back at what happened. He gets stunned, jumps on top of the obstacle, and I don't think he expected that to happen. So naturally, since he thinks that he's still inside the conveyor, he jumps. But then he realizes what is happening and takes his hand off the space button, but by this point he makes contact with the conveyor, which bounces him off the course and onto a safety mat. Despite as unexpected as Lyric's fail was, it does show that he can reach the third stage. A fifth obstacle fail is not that bad, just 2 obstacles away from the end. Next time, he can maybe make it. Up next to run the second stage is Square Aswell 09. After failing the Silk Slider in the previous tournament, Square bounced back, avenged his failure, and has made it all the way to this point. To make it even more important, this is the final tournament Square will be running in before his retirement, so it couldn't have come at a more perfect time in his career. So far, no one has made it through the second stage. Square is more than capable of doing so. Onto the tackle machine now, already halfway through it, coming up on the end of it, made it to the top there, now is heading up onto Narrow. Sliding down there to the 2 blockades, this obstacle cannot be underestimated. Lyric almost failed it. Square gets a little bit of a bounce there, but he's able to survive, and now into Spider Walk, and look at this pace out of Square. He's making his way onto that 3rd section of the obstacle, making his way onto the 4th, now he's got that, coming up on the fire pole. A little bit slower than Lyric was to this point, getting some trouble there getting onto the balance tank, but he's able to get through it nevertheless. This is where Lyric just failed. He needs to make sure that he keeps that in the back of his head. He's getting farther into the conveyor. 13 seconds are on the clock. He is on pace to clear. He just needs to keep up this pace. Here comes that klaxon. He's got to keep going. 8 seconds left. He's not on the conveyor. He's got to go. Come on, you got 4 seconds left. He has to get this. One more, come on, 1 more left now. He's got to hurry up. He's so close. I don't know if he's going to make it. And he's not. Square is so close to the end. If he just had 1 more second, he would have for sure made it through the stage. But this means that his Roblox Ninja career ends off right here, 1 obstacle away from the end. So heartbreaking to see it end off like this. The next competitor running the second stage is someone who has cleared second stage courses in the past, Turtwig 5943. Turtwig took home the fastest time on the first stage this tournament and also the second fastest time in history, which definitely helps him here on the second stage, a stage that is all about speed. 50 seconds are on the clock. That's going to be enough time for Turtwig to make it through if he becomes efficient on this course. We just saw Square run out of time here, so he needs to make sure that he keeps up a faster pace than him as he makes his way through the course. Making his way onto the second blockade of Narrow, got that here, and now he's into Spider Walk. A great pace on that first panel, coming up on the second, now making his way through, but he's a little bit caught up there halfway through that second panel, but he's able to recover nicely. Coming up on this 4th one, a little bit low, he's able to get through nicely. About on the same pace as Square to the halfway point of this course. Here comes Balance Tank, he's able to get that too. Here is the reverse conveyor. This is what's truly been the make or break point on this stage. It eliminated Lyric and it essentially allowed Square to fail the wall lift. He's entering the wall lift with about the same amount of time as Square had. 8 seconds left on the clock. He's got to make sure that he's just going fast. Make his way on the second wall. He's got to keep going. 1 wall left for Turtwig. He's got to get it. He's still gonna get it. Yes! Turtwig is through the second stage, meaning that the tournament is going into the third. A close call from Turtwig, but a great job all around. He took time where he could, but also picked up the jets when he needed to. On the final 2 obstacles, he preserved time as the timer ticks down and cleared at the last possible second that he could, finishing with only half a second left on the clock. He almost didn't make it with him struggling to get himself through that final wall, but he did it with just barely enough time left to hit the buzzer. Congratulations to Turtwig. He is the first to head on to the 3rd stage, and here comes Alex to help celebrate Turtwig's achievement. Coming up to the starting line is ToadFan99, who has been having an amazing tournament. In just his first Roblox Ninja competition, Toad was able to complete the first stage. He'll be the first to run since Turtwig's clear, trying his best to learn from what everyone just saw. Onto the tackle machine now. He's got a good holding of the start of this obstacle. Gotta push it up to the top of this where that yellow line is. A little bit of a slow technique as he makes his way up there. It took almost 10 seconds to get to the top of there. However, he's definitely making up time there on narrow. Wow, completely blazed through that, and he's also blazing his way through Spider Walk. Just completely moving so quickly as he's making his way through to the fire pole. A lot faster than everyone else at this point, now into balance tank. That slow pace on tackle machine literally seems like nothing now as he's into reverse conveyor with over 20 seconds left on the clock. Less than 20 seconds now, but he's already halfway through the obstacle. Coming up on the hardest section of this obstacle, jumping very high on this, but it looks like it's not stopping him whatsoever. 10 seconds, 3 walls left, but look at how fast he's lifting them. They're just essentially a feather. Toad sets up an absolutely astronomical time. And that's a second stage speed record. Toad blew all the expectations out of the water, and he's the second competitor in a row through to the third stage. Amazing job. Makoto Nagano 21 was able to barely pass the first stage, now working his way through narrow. Having a lot of trouble there getting through that first blockade. Can he get through it? He's got it. Balance tank is a very hard obstacle, even if no competitors have failed it so far. A little bit all over the place on the obstacle, and Nagano is down. A great newcomer performance, however. Elmo for real is the last newcomer to take on the second stage, pushing the box all the way up to the top of the tackle machine. Got it past that yellow line now and making his way down to narrow through that first ledge, coming up on the first blockade, and he's out. Went too far out on the obstacle, didn't reconnect with that ledge, and he's the first person to go down there. For Fuji's first attack at Robloxian SASUKE's second stage is here, and he's ready to show off his abilities on it. Already halfway through the course, a great pace from Grant on. He's on now to the balance tank. A force technique on this obstacle through the drop, but he doesn't connect to the landing platform. Didn't have the best strategy on it, and that unfortunately causes him to splash down. Up next to run is someone who is entering the second stage for the first time in 4 years. That competitor is a Thunderbird. Thunder last reached the stage in Senshi 1, where he would end up being that tournament's last Robloxian standing when he closed the tournament off on the second stage. While he doesn't compete too frequently, he has reached the second stage in a few other competitions, like the first tournament of Rising Ninja Warrior. However, since both those tournaments finished, Thunder has found a lot of struggle when it comes to competing and failed to complete the first stage for numerous years. After failing the second obstacle last tournament, it looked like that trend would continue going into the second tournament of Robloxian SASUKE. However, Thunder bounced back. After strong showings in the mini competitions, Thunder would finally hit a first stage buzzer in a competition setting for the first time since 2019, and with a very fast pace as well. Now, Thunder is looking to do something that he's never done in his career up until this point: beat the second stage too. It's a tough thing to accomplish, but we've already seen 2 prove this tournament that it is possible. Thunder can very well be clear number 3. Onto the stage now. Here comes his run, a backwards approach on this tackle machine. We saw Michael Skunk Fry do this last tournament. Unlike Michael, Thunder appears like he's not going to be disqualifying himself, getting through that yellow line on the obstacle and now into narrow. Through that first and second blockade quickly, now he's on to the not on the balance tank. That's the next obstacle. He's now on the spider walk, but he very well could reach the balance tank with this pacey setting. Great job through that, and now he's onto the balance tank. We just saw Grant go down here. Will Thunder? He will not! Now into the reverse conveyor. Just like everyone else who's reached this point, this is where you could definitely fail. Make or break point, but Thunder is making his way through this obstacle very quickly. Here comes that klaxon, but it doesn't look like it's gonna matter. He's just gonna lift these walls. That's 1. That's 2. 1 more left for Thunder. Is he able to get it? He's got it! Thunder has now set himself a personal best for his Roblox Ninja career. For the first time, he has completed the second stage, and the third tonight to do so. And with 4.1 seconds left on the clock, a great result and a great time too. Coming up to the starting line is someone who is looking to redeem their result from last tournament. 4 years ago, in the original Robloxian SASUKE 2, Centaur Amir 250 took his first shot at the course and did not disappoint. He was the only newcomer to reach the third stage in that tournament and fought to the 6th obstacle of the third stage until he was eventually brought down. In this new era, Amir has been one of the most consistent, beating the first stage in both tournaments. The same cannot be said, however, for the second stage, as despite putting up the current fastest first stage clear time, he would not replicate that pace again as he timed up seconds away from the end of the course. This tournament, Amir has practiced extensively to prevent this from happening, and he wants to break through to the third stage like he did in the original Robloxian SASUKE 2. Amir's first stage run this tournament was definitely a nail-biter. There were a few times where he could have failed, and it was nowhere near his first stage run last tournament, which was virtually perfect. However, he has to put that run aside as he's got to face his second attack at the second stage. Here he goes, pushing the tackle machine onto the obstacle now. He's got to get to the top of this obstacle right here. There's the yellow line going with a great speed on it. Narrows the next obstacle for him to face. He spent some time on this obstacle last tournament. Looks like that's not going to be the case this tournament. Through those two blockades without any problems, now into the spider walk. He stumbled on this obstacle greatly last tournament, and he's doing it a little bit there again. However, he's able to get through to that through the spider walk and through to the fire pole with a lot more time than he had last tournament. Balance tank's up next. He's got that too. 20 seconds left on the clock. We could see another clear out of Amir if he keeps going. If he stops once, that is it. He just has to make sure that he keeps his pace up. He's got to go right here. Here comes that klaxon. 3 walls are left for Amir to stand. That's all that's left for him. Through 1 wall. Got to get a second wall. He's really struggling there. 3 seconds left. 1 wall left. He's stuck. Can he get it? Yes. Amir does it. 0.1 seconds left on the clock. Just in time. Almost didn't beat it, but through his own determination, he fought through and was able to survive. Thought that on wall lifting, that was it. That last wall really gave him some struggles, but he was able to just barely get himself through that, despite struggling for so long on it to make it to the end. Great job avenging his failure from the last tournament. Truly a great step forward for him. Just finding out that he's making his way to the third stage. Very excited about this turnout. He's the next to advance to this point. Up next on the second stage is Yas 1-2-3-4-5-1. Yas cleared one of the fastest times on the first stage, so he has that to his benefit here on this run. However, last tournament he wasn't able to make it through and actually had the earliest timeout out of all the timeouts on the second stage on the reverse conveyor. He's expressed desires about reaching the third stage, so he has to be able to perfect those strategies here as his run begins. Tackle machine pushing his way up to the top of the obstacle and has made it through successfully. Now coming down to narrow, first blockade got it, and the second blockade too. Now is spider walks up next. We've seen one slip up on this obstacle so far. Yas has a great strategy on it, looking like he's not going to slip up on it, and now is into balance tank. This was the most problematic obstacle for him last tournament. He's got stranded on it. Doesn't get stranded on it this time. Perfect release off of it. Yas now definitely has a possibility to clear as he's not in the klaxon as he heads into the reverse conveyor. 15 seconds left on the clock, nearing the end of this obstacle. A clear is in sight for him. Klaxon sounds when he's making his way on the wall lift, lifting his walls quickly. If he keeps this up, he could be the next to clear. 1 wall left for him that stands in his way, and he's done it! For the first time in Robloxian SASUKE, Yas has been able to complete the second stage. Nice job to him. Second time is the charm. Yas has done what he failed to do last time. And with this clear, we've officially tied the clear record of 5 from last tournament. He was flawless throughout his entire run and used his time very efficiently and got through to the halfway point much faster than he did last tournament. No mistakes or slip-ups that were truly detrimental, and that was very important coming into balance tank where he had a perfect technique for it. All this culminated with him reaching the buzzer with enough time to make it through. Yas obviously very excited about his clear. With all his success in recent times, there's a very good chance he could go deep on the third stage as well. With 5 already into the third stage, we'll be closing out the second stage with the only 3 who cleared it last tournament to reach it here. Robotic Pie is up first. Nerves very much affected his run on the first stage, and it's clear that that's going to affect him here once again. He wants to put in a good result and make it back to the third stage, but that is not a given. He doesn't want second place like last tournament, and he has to get to the third stage to even qualify for the top 5, so he has that to motivate him on this run. Pushing the tackle machine up to the top of this tower. Through that yellow line, he's got it. Narrow is such a tricky obstacle. Stay close to that wall through that first blockade, and that's what he's done. Seaboss had a fast pace up to this point, but Spider Walk could make it or break it. Looking like it's going to make it. Great technique as he's coming down to balance tank. Stepping up onto the tank right now, backwards on it. Probably gonna have to flip there, and he does. Reverse conveyor is the next obstacle for him to face. He's got more than enough time in the bag to make it to the third stage, just has to avoid making any stupid mistakes on these last two obstacles. Nearing the end of reverse conveyor, got that, and now just has wall lifting. Through 1, 2 walls left for Seabot until the third stage visit. One left for Seabot, a little bit caught up there on the third wall, but Seabot does it and breaks the clear record in the process. With 3.9 seconds left on the clock, we've got 6 competitors through to the third stage, and Seabot's currently the only one to do it twice. With 2 more competitors left to run, can we see this clear count climb higher? V-Core Kiwix is the next to attempt the stage, looking to become clear number 7. He was able to beat the first stage earlier and keep his tournament alive, but the second stage offers many different challenges than the first. If we recall last tournament, Alex cleared with only 0.8 seconds left on the clock, so just barely. With all the modifications done to the second stage this tournament, Alex needs to make sure that he keeps speed at the front of his mind on this run. Here goes, Alex's second 50-second attack at the second stage has begun. Pushing the tackle machine up to the top of the tower. Took a little bit of time doing so. He needs to be able to get some of that speed back on as he continues throughout the stage. Onto Narrow, taking some time there also to line up before the obstacle. That's also now going to do good for his time. However, he's making his way through the spider walk nicely. Definitely making up some time there as he enters the final panel of the obstacle. But he drops. Alex out of nowhere loses his traction on the spider walk, and he's out on the second stage for his first time. If we look back at what happened, his head hit the top of the panel, and that caused all of his jump height to leave. He obviously didn't expect this, so he kept going forward, but the only thing that he went forward into was the blockade. So he had no height nor distance, and with that he fell into the water. This caps off Alex's second run at Robloxian SASUKE. Thankfully, after he cleared the first stage, he abandoned his desire to retire, so we'll see if next tournament he can make it back to the third stage. And with that, there's only one competitor left to run the second stage, and it's someone who wants to clear more than anyone. That person will be Mr. 100 Flodos. Like Alex, Flo had a lot of trouble with the second stage last tournament and ended up clearing the stage with barely any time left. This was mainly due to his slow pace and an abysmal strategy on the reverse conveyor as he entered the final obstacle with little to no time remaining. He cleared with even less time than Alex did with only half a second left on the clock. He was able to clear the second stage for a second time in a row on Steel Castle, so he has that consistency on his side going into his second attack here at the second stage. His fellow cliffhanger conqueror Robotic Pie has already advanced to the third stage, so Flo definitely is hoping to join him and become the 7th person to clear the second stage. Expectations are high for Flo, but so is the pressure. He was able to get through the first stage with a few scares here and there, so he has to make sure that he's 100% focused on this run. A mistake on as tight as the stage as this could spell doom for his entire run, no matter how small a mistake it is. He just has to focus on continuing to move through this course, making his way through Narrow, but he slips off the obstacle! Out of nowhere, no one saw this coming! Flo, who is just one jump away from the final stage, shocks all by going out on Narrow! This has to be the biggest shock of the tournament as he just slips off the obstacle! He doesn't tackle the first blockade correctly, which results in him entering the midway point between the two with not enough distance to reach the smaller ledge. As a result, he doesn't connect with it and splashes into the water. And with that fail, we close out the second stage without Flodos making it through, something different from last tournament. Someone who is thought to be all 4 stages this tournament instead goes out before the halfway point of the course. Here we are at the halfway point of this tournament. 2 stages down and 2 to go. 14 competitors took on the second stage, and now it's time for them to go into the third. Taking into account all the shocking fails this stage provided, the stage's unpredictability was something that no one saw coming. So many talented people went down on the stage, people you thought who could win it all. Despite this, a talented group of 6 was able to break the clear record and punch their tickets into the 3rd stage. The fastest time of the group was set by the only newcomer to clear, Toadfan99, and Tournament 1 Speed Demon Amir takes home the slowest clear of the stage with 0.1 seconds. Out of these 6, only one of them has been to this point of the competition before. With numerous changes, how will all of them fare against the challenges the stage has to offer? It's the most daunting task of them all, the 3rd stage. The 3rd stage is where competitors will be pushed to their limits. There are 5 of the hardest obstacles in Roblox Ninja, and they stand in the competitor's way to the final stage. It starts off with Propeller Unte, 3 spinning propellers where finding the right path to make it through is key. A pole has been added at the center of each propeller to force competitors to wrap around the center of each. After that is the only new obstacle of the 3rd stage, Thunderbolt. 4 bolts with the middle 2 dropping. This obstacle tests the competitor's ability to jump as late as they possibly can to clear the gaps in between them. Following that is Swing Circle, much harder than it was last tournament. Each ring has been made farther apart than ever, requiring more swing and power to get to each of the succeeding rings. Beat that and you're through to the obstacle that ended all but 2 competitors' journeys in the competition, Cliffhanger. Unchanged from the last tournament, the goal is simple. Trust flick your way through the 3 ledges to stay alive, or your tournament is over. After those 4 obstacles, all that remains for competitors to face is Pipe Slider. 2 tracks and 2 pipes. Control is everything on this obstacle as competitors must slowly make their way through both of them. Once competitors make it to the end of the 2nd track, only the final jump of the stage awaits competitors, which no one could complete last tournament. There's no time limit, and if anyone could complete that jump, then they advance to the final stage. Cliffhanger was one of the trickiest challenges last tournament, and it's the first competitor to run the 3rd stage's biggest nightmare. It's Turtwig 5943. Standing at the bottom of the 3rd stage stairs, he knows he's got many hard challenges to face in front of him. This is Turtwig's first trip back to the 3rd stage since his run in Rising Ninja Warrior 3. In that tournament, Turtwig failed the Cliffhanger but also became Golden Competitor. Could both of those scenarios happen here? Given his experience on the 3rd stage, it is a chance. However, he didn't even get halfway through the 3rd stage on that attempt. However, the fact that he has reached this point is important, as he's definitely become more comfortable on it for this attempt. No competitor was able to beat the 3rd stage last tournament. He could very well be the first given his skill. The first of 6 to attempt the 3rd stage today, Turtwig's preparing to start with the Propeller Unte. It's a very unsuspecting obstacle. One mistake could send you into the water. Regenerating that obstacle before he begins his attack on it. Now he begins it, going with a forward technique on this obstacle. Pretty risky, but he's able to make it through that first transition. One more left for Turtwig before he's through the obstacle, landed that, and now he's into Thunderbolt. It's a little bit of a big drop down there to the first one, but he's speeded his way through, a little bit caught up there on that last Thunderbolt. He's able to get it there, completely demolishing that new obstacle like as if it's nothing. Now he's going straight into Swing Circle, just going straight for it. This is an insane strategy, truly maximizing his swing. Landed that final ring, going straight to the Cliffhanger. First transition, he's landed it. One more left for Turtwig. Doesn't get the 2nd transition, out on a Cliffhanger yet again. Oh, an amazing run from him that has ended very quickly. He could have failed the Propeller Unte given his risky method on the obstacle, but it works out for him. And on Swing Circle, he truly maximized his swings for each transition and nailed them beautifully. On Cliffhanger, however, speed got the best of him. While he nailed that first transition, he didn't get so lucky on the 2nd. Like Dip and Alex last tournament, he didn't turn his character out far enough and didn't get the ability to jump as a result, meaning he fell. Splashing down to the ground, he's out, but what an amazing run from Turtwig. Going from a 4th obstacle fail on the 1st stage to a 4th obstacle fail on the 3rd stage is something he's got to be proud of. Up next on the 3rd stage is the only newcomer to make it this far. On his first appearance on a Roblox Ninja course, Toadfan99 has done something only a handful of people have done in RNW. Reach a 3rd stage, let alone on his first try. Coming off the top time on the second stage, Toad's got high hopes as he reaches the next stage of the competition. A skilled competitor showed by his abilities in Juke's Tower of Hell, Toad has the ability to perform when pressure is on, something that is definitely happening today. As the only newcomer to make it to this point of the competition, Toad has exceeded everyone's expectations, but he knows he is not done. He's expressed desires of reaching the final stage, and he very well can. Toad truly being the Rookie of the Year for this competition at the bottom of those third stage stairs. Just saw Turtwig go down 4 obstacles into the stage. Toad obviously doesn't want to have the same thing happen here. As a newcomer, he represents all the first-time athletes who have fallen before this point, the only one of them to reach this point here. Truly showing the capabilities of the new generation of Roblox Ninja athletes. His time to begin the third stage is almost here, staring down the first of his 5 new threats. These 3 propellers spin in a way that you have to take a risk with every single jump. Reaching that obstacle just like Turtwig, here he goes. Making that first wrap around it, coming up on the first position, going with a sideways approach! Toad doesn't get a jump going into the second propeller, and that's it! He goes out on the first obstacle! His run is over just as soon as it begins! He jumped too late off of that first propeller, and that's all it took to send him into the water. It's a good idea to get a late jump going into each transition, but Toad executed it wrong. Didn't get a jump at all, and that's it for his tournament. Toad in the water, obviously shocked that this happened, but what a great run, especially from his first time running a Roblox Ninja course. Hopefully we'll see him do better next tournament. The next to run the third stage is, like Toad, making his first ever third stage appearance. It's a Thunderbird. Thunder finally broke through the second stage, a stage that he struggled on for the last 4 years. Thunder was able to reach the third stage twice in the minis, but he went down on Thunderbolt both of those times. That's obviously got to be in his mind as he's preparing to start his third stage run. Yes, in the distance, showing his support for Thunder, he'll be running second to last on this stage. Staring down at Propeller Unte, this is the obstacle that just eliminated Toad. Like Thunderbolt, this also has to be back in the back of his head. Preparing to start this run, truly just getting closer and closer to starting the obstacle after sizing up for so long. He's now into the obstacle, making his way around that first transition. One more transition left for Thunder, and he's through that, and now is on to Thunderbolt, fittingly named similarly to him. First transition, he's got that second bolt, he's got the third bolt, and he's through that too, very quickly, just like Turtwig was. Now coming into the swing circle, he's obviously taking a little bit of a slow approach, it looks like, not getting as much power as Turtwig got, and he looks like he's been trying to move like all over the place. However, he's going back to reset the obstacle. That's a really smart move. Now he's able to stay more centered and aligned. Looking like he's going to go for this first transition. He's got it perfectly. Great swing, even if it wasn't as powerful as Turtwig, it did allow for him to reach it. You almost undershot that. That was a great save. Thunder gets himself out of harm's way, but he just keeps going. He's got that first transition of Cliffhanger. One more left for Thunder, and he gets it. Thunder is the third competitor to complete the Cliffhanger, but he keeps going. Thunder is on a mission, it looks like, very focused to get to that third stage finishing platform. Moving this pipe with urgency, it's not a good idea to move it quickly as you can lose control just as quickly, but that's yet to happen to Thunder on his run. Through that first pipe, now is one more pipe left standing between him and the final stage. He's gonna have to keep going. After 4 years without having the first stage clear, Thunder now has a chance to beat the third stage on his first try at it in competition. In just a few moments, we could be witnessing history as he slowly makes his way towards the end of this pipe. He's reached the end now, just building up swing right now. He's preparing for it. There's the third stage finish platform right there. He derails it. Can he hang on? No! Thunder! Another pipe slider failed. Thunder! He derails the pipe of the pipe slider, and he becomes yet another person to fall victim to that part of the obstacle. So incredibly unfortunate and heartbreaking to see him go out, but what an amazing run he's had this tournament. He executed great techniques throughout his entire run, and he knew when he was in trouble on the swing circle, so he got himself out of a bad situation by restarting his progress, and also on that second transition when he jumped through the inside of the circle. On the Cliffhanger, he did what Turtwig couldn't and got himself through the obstacle, getting big air as well on it. Incredibly impressive to see him being his first time ever attempting a Cliffhanger. Just really showing how skilled Thunder has been, even though he's not been able to perform as well over the last 4 years. But on the pipe slider, everything came tumbling down when he was swinging. He pushed the pipe a little bit to the right. That ended up derailing the bar, and by that time, both of the slides were off the track, and there was absolutely no way that he could have reached the landing platform as all stability was lost. That obviously caught him off guard, and he fell into the water. It's just so unfortunate to see him go out this way. It's a shame to see him go out just like that, but what a great run Thunder had. As I've said before, he went 4 years without having to clear on the first stage, and now he's just one jump away from the final stage. Thunder truly showing what he's made of here on Robloxian SASUKE, becoming one of the most elite competitors in the competition. At the bottom of the third stage stairs is the next competitor to attempt it, Center Amir 250. Amir has finally returned to the third stage after trying to get back to this point for numerous years. Last tournament, he was mere seconds away from reaching this point, so it has to feel good knowing that he was able to do it this tournament. Last time he was here, he went down 3 obstacles away from the end of the stage, and also in a very unique way as well when he rushed the mount onto the obstacle. Speed isn't a concern here on the third stage, and that in a way helps Amir out here. He cleared the second stage with only 1/10 of a second left on the clock, by far the closest call in Robloxian SASUKE history. With all that being said, Amir is looking to start off on the propeller Unte. However, it didn't look like it was on a right spinning transition right here. Now he's onto the obstacle looking into this first transition, landed that here. Great strategy on this obstacle so far, truly just correctly implementing that sideways strategy, and now into Thunderbolt. Before this tournament, no one has seen this obstacle, but everyone who has attempted this obstacle has been able to clear, and Amir continues that trend with a fast dash through that obstacle. It appears that everyone who's attempted that obstacle is trying to avoid losing their grip on the middle bolt when they drop, so rushing it is the best method. Swing circle is up next. It's clear that Amir has some concerns when it comes to this obstacle. On this first swing, he's getting a lot of swing, and that's important, but also making sure that you're in control is also just as important. That second circle is very far away. Amir doesn't seem too comfortable on this obstacle, swinging in all directions here. Not seeming like he's gonna make it to that platform, but he's going back to the starting platform. Smart decision for Amir. Now he's able to reroute his momentum just like Thunder did earlier. Going for that transition isn't successful. Amir is down on the swing circle. Just didn't find that first transition, and you can tell he's pretty disappointed that he didn't make that jump. Sadly came up short, not enough height nor distance to reach it. Just barely nudged that second circle, but it wasn't far enough out to successfully land on it. Looking back on that attempt, it's clear his nerves were high. Clearly was not the most comfortable on the obstacle, having taken numerous attempts to get himself into a good position to even try the first transition. When it came time for him to eventually make that transition, he did not execute it right. Could have used at least one more swing to make it there, but that's not what ended up happening. An American Roblox YT is out on the third stage, but what a great job on making it this far. After coming so close last time, he finally got the chance to attempt this stage and did not disappoint. With him finally being able to break through the second stage, the sky is the limit for Amir as he enters a new era where it's possible for him to reach this point of the competition. The second to last to run the third stage is one of the most capable to complete it. That person is Yas1234551. For years, Yas struggled to reach the third stage, evident by him not reaching this point last tournament. When he finally got to this point in competition, hopes were high, but sadly, Yas couldn't perform too well, usually falling early into those runs. However, that would change going into Blue Ninja Warrior's 20th tournament. In that run, Yas blazed his way through the course in dominant fashion, conquering some of the trickiest obstacles ever devised. Before long, it was clear that Yas would be able to clear, and that's exactly what ended up happening. 8 obstacles later, and Yas ended up on the finishing platform of the stage, earning him the right to attempt the final stage tower. Yas has already done better than his performance in Tournament 1, and with his skill, the sky is the limit for what he can do on this run. 98 have fallen. Yas is just one of 2 competitors remaining with a shot of winning. He knows what he has to accomplish. He's got 5 obstacles to face in front of them, all of them being more difficult than the one preceding it. However, Yas has been able to excel when the pressure is high, so you can never count him out. Getting ready to start this run, his attempt marks the 10th ever attempt on the 3rd stage. No one has been successful. Yas very well might. Making his way through the propeller Unte so far. Took him time there on the 2nd one, however, he's able to get through and now is into Thunderbolt. Because he's also going to take a fast technique, but he has a weird reaction there on the 3rd bolt. Is able to survive without anything happening. Close call. Gets off quickly though. Now he's into Swing Circle. We've seen near slip-ups before, and Amir has gone down on it. However, he's able to get farther than Amir did. Now just one more transition left for Yas to go for. Just really getting a lot of swing here, going for that transition. Just barely lands on it. Yas is the next competitor to attempt the cliffhanger, coming up on this first transition, landed that. Now time to go up. Will he be able to get it? Yes, he does! Making his way through that obstacle, Yas is clear number 4 on the cliffhanger. Now all that's left for him to face is the pipe slider. Thunder went through this obstacle very quickly. We're going to see what Yas does on this attempt. This obstacle is so tricky to do. These 2 tracks cannot be underestimated whatsoever. Just gonna need to keep going as fast as he can. Too much push and he will slide easily off of that track. Just has to make sure that he stays controlled and maintain just his nerves and everything as he makes his way towards the end of this first track. Reaching the end of the first track, here we go. He's got one more track left between him and the final stage. There's Thunder in the background. He just failed the end of this obstacle a few runs ago, trying to see if Yas will either have the same fate or if he will, or else he will be the first person to advance to the final stage. At the end of the track, Yas building up swing. He goes for it! He doesn't get it! Yas doesn't stick the dismount! He gets the jump off the pipe, but not the landing onto the platform! And Pipe Slider has yet another victim! Yas's run could have ended just as early as the 2nd obstacle, when he had a scare on Thunderbolt, and 1 obstacle later when he just barely survived the Swing Circle. However, both ended up working out in his favor. On Cliffhanger, he absolutely perfected his strategy, easily nailing both transitions. But on the Pipe Slider, everything came to a close, just not getting the right swing off the pipe to reach the end. Did not get enough momentum while swinging the pipe, so when he went for the jump, there was no way he could have completed it. But still, what a great run from Yas, going from failing the 2nd stage to now 1 jump away from the final stage. If anything, this continues to establish Yas as one of the current top competitors in Roblox Ninja, and hopefully next tournament he can reach the final stage. And with that, all that remains in the competition is Robotic Pie. Seabot's history in Robloxian SASUKE has been one of the best and has not disappointed. He reached this point last tournament with relative ease, also becoming the first competitor to clear the cliffhanger in the process. But on Pipe Slider, Seabot would unfortunately become its first victim when he failed to get a jump off the obstacle while attempting the dismount. Seabot has come into this tournament with high expectations, and he has certainly performed to them. Every other competitor who reached the 3rd stage in the previous tournament has failed to reach this point again, leaving Seabot to be the only person to ever do it twice. With this added experience, can Seabot perform under the pressure to close out the 3rd stage with a clear? There's the Pipe Slider. To have gone down there tonight, Seabot definitely doesn't want to make that number become 3. We know how Seabot can perform tonight, but he has a lot of pressure weighing down on him. 99 competitors have fallen before him. He's this tournament's last Robloxian standing. At the bottom of the 3rd stage stairs with Cheese VIP, who failed the Silk Slider. The both of them are clearly trying to have some fun with each other to boost Seabot's morale before heading into this run. If he fails anywhere on this run, regardless if that's on the mount of the Propeller Unte or the dismount of the Pipe Slider once more, this means the tournament will be over. The only thing that can keep this tournament going for him is reaching the final stage. 5 obstacles remain for him. You can tell he's definitely trying to psych himself up before this run begins. Nerves definitely have to be high for him. It's definitely seen on the rest of his tournament as he begins his attempt on the stage. Propeller Unte is the first obstacle for Seabot to face. Begins it, makes that first transition nicely. One more left for Seabot, and he's got that there. Thunderbolt is up next. Every competitor has made it through this obstacle with ease. Seabot is the 5th competitor to attempt it this tournament. Really taking some time here to line up before this obstacle, very much showing that nerves are taking its toll on his run. Now making his way onto that 3rd bolt. One more left for him. A slow approach on the obstacle, but it ends up working for him. Now heading into Swing Circle. Really feeling nervous about this obstacle, probably just having a lot of time there, taking a sweet time on all these platforms. trying to soak in this moment for as long as he possibly can. These 3 rings have been very tricky for every competitor to attempt them. As we've seen, no one except for Turtwig has been the most comfortable on this obstacle. Into the obstacle now, making his way through this first swing, going a little bit slow on this obstacle, but he's able to get it right there. Preparing to size up this next transition, has a lot of height, and he makes the transition. 3 obstacles down, 2 more to go. Next up is the obstacle that he was able to beat last tournament, the first to do so, Cliffhanger. This obstacle has been so tricky, but only Turtwig has been able to fail this obstacle. Making his way onto that starting platform, 3 ledges are all that stands in between Turtwig and the next obstacle, the pipe slider. Staying on that ledge, we don't know what he's feeling right now, but it has to be something nervous. There he goes, he's confirming that he's nervous. Sizing up this obstacle, he's on that first ledge. Here he goes, he's gonna make that first transition! He falls, and that's it! We've reached Zenmetsu yet again on the 3rd stage. Once again, no competitors will be advancing to the final stage. It was a great attempt on the 3rd stage, but a very rocky one at that. Got through Thunderbolt and Swing Circle with a little bit of hesitation, but on Cliffhanger, everything went wrong. Like many people have done before, Seabot did not time his flick with his jump properly, with a lot of it being attributed to him not turning his character far enough out. As a result, his technique was off, and he wasn't able to get the height needed to reach the 2nd ledge. This is unlike in the previous tournament where Seabot did exactly the opposite, and this allowed for him to clear it. But today he's out on the obstacle that helped him break out last tournament. It's a sad fail to see Seabot fail earlier than he did last tournament, but still a great sophomore season from him. Being the only competitor to reach the 3rd stage twice, you know that even though he didn't outperform his previous results, he's still one of the course's best competitors. However, still, this is where our competition closes out again. The 3rd stage, with all its numerous changes, have eliminated all 6 to attempt it this tournament. And with that, Robloxian SASUKE 2 has reached its end. For the 2nd time, 100 competitors tried their hand at the merciless 4-stage obstacle course. These 100 were a more stacked field than we've ever seen before, with many being capable of beating it all. With the course being the hardest it's ever been, the contestants gave it their best shot until no one was left to stand against the tower once again. However, this doesn't mean that the competitors went quietly. Despite the numerous modifications being put in place on the 1st stage to eliminate more people than ever, it was able to be broken through by a record 14 people, 9 of them doing it for their first time. When it was time for them to advance onward, they continued to dominate. The 2nd stage saw 5 of the 6 to complete it have it be their first time doing so, allowing for the 3rd stage to be attempted by almost entirely new faces. But when the 3rd stage commenced, it was clear that the trials were far too great for them to complete it, as they all splashed down into the water once again. Although the competitors were not able to break through to the final stage, this tournament was successful in many ways. Square as well as 09 closing his career off with one last buzzer, and a Thunderbird finally reaching the 3rd stage for his first time and nearly completing it are some examples of this. This just shows that no matter how hard the challenges in front of the competitors are, they can and will always step up against them and fight until the bitter end. This will continue for as long as Roblox Ninja stays alive, as there is always another challenge to conquer for competitors. Whether that is Robloxian SASUKE or another competition is up to the future to decide. You could always be the next champion of any competition as long as you have the passion and desire to strive for greatness. All it takes is stepping up to the starting line. Thank you all so much for supporting this series as it continues to grow into yet another year of existence. We're coming up on the 5-year anniversary of my hosting career, so whether you've been here since the beginning or just tuned in to watch this episode, it is incredibly appreciated. This tournament has been a massive success in my book, and I know from here it'll only get better. Tournament 3 is just around the corner, as I've said before, and it could definitely be you. It all it takes is stepping up to that starting line. Until that day comes, however, this is Jamie Dorino signing off. We'll see you next time on Robloxian SASUKE. But the course only grows tougher. Next tournament, the most talented field to face, Robloxian SASUKE, will also have to face one of the hardest courses ever devised. With the most amount of changes the course has ever seen, will the competitors continue their success from the last tournament? Assembled in the middle of a winter wonderland, competitors must put the frigid temperatures aside if they want to be the first to break through the third stage and attempt the tower. 20 obstacles, 4 stages, 1,000 Robux. Who can rise above and avenge the fallen in Robloxian SASUKE Tournament 3?